Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be interviewing an amazing magician, incredibly skilled and has created multiple effects. It's Sebastian Midtvaage. How are you today, Sebastian?
I am doing great. Happy to be here.
Oh, thank you so much for coming on. And if you don't mind, do you think you could just tell everyone what you've been doing recently?
Yeah, so obviously the last year has been very interesting. Performance-wise, all the venues shut down, and I've been performing, paying all my bills for my entire adult life for as long as I can remember. So the last year has definitely been very challenging. Not too much in the way of performance, but I've done a lot of philosophizing, if that's a good word for it. A lot of thinking about magic and how I want to be presented when the world does reopen for magic.
Yeah, that's really cool. I think the lockdown has definitely given a lot of magicians time to kind of step back and as well look at their act and see
Yeah.
what their whole performance is like. I think it's cool because as well I know a lot of magicians that before lockdown, I know a lot of magicians that now to practice they sit in front of a camera and
Mhm.
just kind of do their entire performance in front of a camera, which would never have done that before lockdown because people are so busy and stuff. So yeah, I think people have definitely been doing a lot of that, and that's really awesome to hear. So Sebastian, obviously you're an amazingly skilled magician.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, it's all good. But I was just wondering to ask you because obviously
Mhm.
would I be right in saying you know quite a lot of moves?
Yeah.
Yeah,
A
I was
fair amount.
just
I'm far from the most skilled, but I do know a good amount.
okay, cool. Yeah, I was just gonna ask you something that I just kind of wrote down beside me because I think everyone's like interested. Where did you learn all your moves?
So that is actually really relevant to the path that I've been on recently. Because when I first got started in magic, the first trick I ever learned was in second grade from a buddy of mine, and I didn't really start taking it seriously till I was about 12 years old, middle school, sixth grade. And that was when I went on YouTube and I started looking up different magic tutorials that way before I actually found out about penguin magic and started ordering actual products from professional magicians. And you can see the big leap in skill and talent and performance wise, all that from when that actually started happening, doing it the right way. So I started off on YouTube and I didn't really read any books for the first few years. But nowadays, books is really where a lot of the good material that I come across is from.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, and have you been learning a few moves recently?
I've been practicing a few slides. My main focus right now, I'm actually in the process of writing two books,
Yeah.
and I'm working on rebranding my close-up magic experience for when the world does open up again.
Yeah. Yeah,
So yeah,
I was gonna say to you actually, you've wrote what was the name of your book?
shaken, not stirred.
Yeah, that's what I thought. It's not in print anymore, is it?
Yeah, so it's out of print at the moment. It started off as a set of lecture notes, but then
Yeah.
I was just selling them at lectures and conventions and stuff, and then they sold out pretty quick, so I started selling them online. And then after reprinting it like four times, I realized I should probably just write a new book instead of reprinting the same stuff over and over again. So that's one of the projects I'm working on now is the next book with follow up to Shaken Not Stirred.
Yeah, because we spoke about that a little bit. We were speaking about you a little bit with Eric,
Mm-hmm.
in
Good
Eric's
guy, love that
interview,
name.
which
Yeah.
isn't up yet, but it will be up soon.
Okay.
Yeah, and he said that you're his favorite magician.
That warms my heart. I got to give him a hug when I see him. Oh my god. Love that guy. No, he's one of my favorite people. Like even like the entire spectrum, he's one of my favorite people in the world. So love that guy.
Yeah, no, he's absolutely awesome. And yeah, I mean like to be wait, was your shaken not stirred? Was I think Eric said that was his latest was it the expression test? Was that in there?
Yes, the expression test was added as a sort of encore piece at the end of the book, just because I wanted Eric's name to be attached to it because it is just such a brilliant, simple piece. And I
Yeah.
figured since I had the platform, I might as well do that. And I was honored to be able to publish it in the book. It's such a great routine.
Yeah, and you did would I be right in saying you did a bunch of lectures with Eric?
Yes, we did an entire East Coast lecture tour under the Slighted brand name. Mhm.
What do you lecture? Like what material? Was it cards and stuff?
So I specialize in close-up magic, so it's definitely cards, coins. I had an effect with a notepad, dollar bills, Yeah, so a variety of things, but especially close-up magic.
Yeah, that's really cool. Yeah, and as well, I think you've also created quite a few effects that have been put out on sites such as Penguin.
Yeah.
Yeah, so what you and you oh I've just realized I forgot to say this. You also
Mhm.
have your own live act with Penguin.
Yes. No, the live act was a fun thing. My buddy Nick Bacapa, who works with Penguin now, he used to live in Orlando, and I met him at a couple magic jams, and he ended up working with Penguin. Ran into him at a convention after he saw my lecture there, and he asked me if I could come out, and I was more than happy to. It was a great experience.
That's so awesome. Yeah, and so just for people that don't know how the Penguin Lives work, it's kind of is it sorry, tell me if I'm wrong, because
Hmm.
but is it you basically they see you do your performance and then you teach everything in there?
Yes. So you do a X minute at however long performance that they want you to do, and then they actually get to sit down, you and Dan Harlan, and explain the act and your thoughts behind it, the techniques, and all the fun details that really make it what it is, and how they can apply it to their own magic.
That's so awesome. That must have been really fun.
It was absolutely amazing. One of my top 10 magic experiences in my life, I'd say. It was
Oh
really,
wow.
really fun.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I think all these things like Penguin Live and stuff, I think they're just amazing. I think really clever ideas that these companies are coming up with worth their money as well.
Oh, no, it's a bunch of value packed into, and it's just crazy the stream of knowledge that we have access to these days compared to like even when I was just starting, 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Then compared to now is absolutely insane. It's
Yeah.
great.
Yeah, no, I
Yeah.
mean like to be honest with you, like you're learning someone's entire like an entire routine or
Yeah.
like
No,
performance.
yeah, and specifically my Penguin Act was the close-up show that I've been performing for the past 10, I mean, probably 8 years because I'd worked on it before it really came to that point that I taught it at. But I've been using that in my professional shows and my gigs and all performances that I was doing for a few years. So the fact that now there's an easy way to access that and learn it directly from me is insane to me.
Yeah, no, it's like it's so cool, and it's as you said, the fact that we can access these things these days are just it's unbelievable, really.
It really is. And don't get me wrong, the online age is definitely great for magic, but I still think that the best way to learn and translate these things from person to person is with books. It's
Yeah,
been around forever, and I don't think that it's going anywhere. It's just going to be a little bit less in demand with all the virtual stuff going on.
yeah, no, I think that people that I think even for me, when you first buy your first magic book, I think a lot of people are surprised about how easy it is to learn from a book.
Hmm.
Because even me when I thought of learning from a book, I was like, how's that going to work,
Right.
it's just all pictures. And then
Yeah.
you kind of when you actually do it, you're like, wow, this isn't as hard as I thought it would be.
Yeah. I mean, me personally, when I first started out, I didn't really learn from books, especially when I was in the beginner stages, just because there weren't any that really stuck out to me. Like there's Warlord to Card Magic, Expert Card Technique. There's a bunch of books that you can get, but none of them really spoke to what I was trying to learn or trying to do. So that's actually the other book that I'm working on right now is a beginner magic book, which is going to be an introduction for sleight of hand magic.
Oh, that's
So
sick.
I'm really basically my goal is to make the book that I wish I could have read when I was getting into it at first.
I think that's so awesome when people say things like that. Like, you've got to kind of almost think as the person that's reading it.
Yeah,
And as you say, it's a beginner thing. So, you got to think like a beginner when you're writing it.
exactly. So it's a fun balance trying to because I don't want it to fall into the same trap that I see a lot of beginner magic books falling into, where it's very simple tricks. There's not too much wow factor. Like they're great for expressing the basic concepts of magic and sleight of hand, but there's never been really a beginner book that I've seen or read where I was like, oh my god, I want to perform this right now. Like Magic for Dummies did a great job, but I haven't really seen too many other books that really accomplish that.
Yeah. Yeah, no. I also, if you don't mind me asking, because obviously you're not really supposed, if you don't mind me asking, will
Yeah.
that book be just slights or just routines or a little bit of both?
It's going to be a little bit of both. The plan currently is to also throw in some gimmicks and self-working tricks. Like I'm not specifically a move monkey, that as the term goes, just because my philosophy with magic is that it's whatever creates the best effect. If
Yeah.
a gimmick is cleaner or if a psychological subtlety is cleaner, do that. But if you're opting out of learning a difficult move because it's too hard and it works for layman is your excuse for using the other move, then that's not, in my opinion, the right way to go about doing it.
Yeah.
So it
No,
should have, yeah, everything that relates to close-up magic, sleight of hand, gimmicks, presentation, whole shebang.
yeah, no, I think as well, you know, a lot of magicians are kind of worked up in this whole thing of, do I do the way that's gonna, you know, be really great for laymen, or do I do the way that's gonna fool my magician friends, but doesn't actually look as good?
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, it's kind of I think, just as you say, yeah, definitely whatever effect is more clean, really, and whatever effect is kind of more effective, if that kind of
Closer to
works.
magic is really kind of the ideal that we're going for, I guess, right?
Yeah, no, definitely. And you know, I think it was one Tamariz.
Mm-hmm.
He said, you know, the way that a spectator should feel is that when they walk away, they should just feel like there was no explanation.
Yes. Big
Like,
fan of Tamariz.
yeah, like they don't even have a single idea. And yeah, Tamariz is great. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, no, I completely agree.
I also wanted to say, because you obviously you've done like your live act and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
but you've also, how many books have you actually written?
I have written just the Shaken Not Stirred, and it was about 3 or 4 different editions of that I wrote, and
Oh,
eventually
okay.
ended up being about 170 pages. And I've had several sets of lecture notes for different smaller events that I've done, but Shaken Not Stirred is the only published book that I've written so far.
Oh, that's sick. That's so cool.
Yeah, other than that, there's been a couple DVDs, some downloads, but nothing in the written form quite yet. So I'm working on that right now. It'll be out hopefully sometime this year. We'll see.
Yeah, your DVD, was it the hofzinser
Yes, the Hofzinser
anthology, I
anthology.
think, was
Yes,
it?
yes, that was the one.
Yeah, yeah. That's really cool. Do you want to just kind of explain what that was?
Yeah, so the hofzinser anthology was a collection of hofzinser ace problem routines that I'd come up with. So one of the routines was actually based on John Gustafero's Palm Reader Plus. I know we had him on the other week. Phenomenal guy, and it's just such a well-structured routine, and it played so well into the hofzinser ace problem that I just had to run with it. And
Yeah.
I messaged him asking for permission to release it, and he was just totally cool about it. I was like, yeah, definitely looks good, go for it. So, hat off to John G, really cool guy, and yeah, I'm really a big fan of all the material on that DVD. Same thing for the rest of my material. It's definitely not self-working by any means, but once you put into practice, it's very, very powerful stuff.
Yeah, I think it's definitely worth it once you put in the practice, 100%. You know,
Yeah.
I think a lot of people kind of a lot of people people see like methods,
Mm-hmm.
and if it's too hard, they just rule it out completely.
Oh,
Um,
definitely.
and I think a lot of people, I know, I have a quite a few friends. Actually, no, I did like one or two that do this. Probably, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
just one actually.
Mm-hmm.
He's like insanely. He at first
Mm-hmm.
he would literally put weeks into moves just to try and
Right.
practice them.
Yeah.
And you know, just like he'd like watch like Chris Ramsey stuff, and he'd like try
Mm-hmm.
and like learn all like the really cool like color changes and stuff.
Yeah.
And you know, and then like he moved on to like sleights that he'll actually use and passes
Mm-hmm.
and stuff. And
If you don't mind me asking, what age demographic is your friend in?
what age?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's only 14.
Perfect. That's pretty much the same age that I was when I was locking myself in my room, learning the Roadrunner call and all the different slices and hardcore stuff that I possibly could, because I had the free time and I had the dexterity, and it just that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to first of all know the moves so I could feel like a proficient magician, but
Yeah,
also whenever I performed for laymen or magicians alike, I wanted them to be like, "Wow, that looks crazy." So
yeah,
that is the age group where you've got the openness to do that sort of thing. So I advise all teenage magicians that are just first getting into it, don't be scared of the hard stuff. Go
yeah,
for it.
yeah. No, so he's 14 at the moment,
Mm-hmm.
and he kind of he started to learn about gimmicks,
Mm-hmm.
and he bought quite a lot of products.
Right.
And when he like now he just, because he's got all these gimmicks and stuff, he didn't, well, not now, but like for a while he didn't even want to learn any moves.
Hmm.
He just like, if he saw a hard routine, he'd be like, "There's got to be a gimmick that would
Right.
help with that."
Hmm.
And you know, like we'd just be jamming on Zoom, and he'd be like, "There's got to be a gimmick that doesn't need that. I don't know, it doesn't need that move." And in the end, I think it kind of hit him that there's not a gimmick for everything.
Yeah, and there's definitely no one correct answer for all magic tricks or any problem that you face. Like it's really a case by case basis. What you think the best method is going to be.
Yeah, no, I feel like you know, I feel like you can't just say, "Oh, there's got to be a gimmick for that," you know,
Hmm.
when people try and create magic, um a lot of the time, I got a friend, he had this insane like gimmick that he made, and it was really cool, and I really liked it, and he showed me it over Zoom, and he was like, "What do you think of this? I'm gonna like submit it to a magic company." and
Hmm.
uh and I just said to him, I said, "Yeah, that's good, but you could actually do it this way." And he
Hmm.
was like, "Oh wow," and it looks so much cleaner and so much better.
Hmm.
um and he was like, and it just shows like you don't always have to use a gimmick, and also if you just put the work in. And he was like, and he did on the, now on the like, on like the description of the trick, it does say that it has like a difficulty rating and it's not that easy. So
Hmm.
it does say that, but he's like, he doesn't really he kind of, if people know it's going to be hard, then that's that really.
Yeah, no, that definitely is something that magicians tend to favor is the self-working, the gimmick will do it for you type of effect. But I think that it's worth putting the practice in.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, I think self-working tricks are also so cool. I mean,
Hmm.
if you can find a way to do a trick that is self-working and it still
Hmm.
looks super clean,
Hmm.
that's so cool. Yeah,
Oh,
definitely.
yeah, no, and Ryan Schlutz is a fantastic example of that kind of train of thought.
Oh yeah, no, definitely. Yeah, Ryan Schlutz. Yeah, no, 100%. Yeah, I actually just did an interview with him.
I feel like I'm saying this about everyone that you interview. I love that guy. Ryan is he's basically my older brother. I have known him since I was 12 years old, and his style of magic has very greatly influenced me, and I'm so grateful for his mentorship from such a young age. He's just such a phenomenal magician and just a good person.
Oh, I was speaking to I was speaking to when I was speaking to Eric.
Hmm.
It was quite funny because like I kind of I got in touch with Eric and I got in touch with Ryan,
Hmm.
and tell me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure you, Eric, and Ryan are good friends.
Oh yes, very much so. Ryan and Eric are my two closest friends in magic, so it's actually very funny that they came on the show before me.
I know. I was like, and it's so sick that I get to interview all of you. And yeah, and I'm so glad I get to interview you because Eric was like, "Oh, you should interview this guy," and it's such an awesome interview so far. So that's so cool. Yeah, definitely. And yeah, no, I
I love
mean,
it.
pardon?
I love it.
Yeah, no, like honestly, like to be honest, on something I did want to ask you is like, for if you were when you were younger, if you could
Mhm.
go back and just say something to your younger self, I don't know, about magic, what would you say?
That is a great question. I would tell myself to focus on being myself.
Yeah.
Because when I was first getting into magic, I would watch all these incredible magicians and I'd be like, wow, I want to be just like that. And when I was 14, I went to one of Kostya Kimlat's seminars. He was holding a training for his restaurant magic business. And I went and I started working at restaurants under Kostya, became a student of his. And for years now, some people that know me well have called me Mini Kostya, which is the title I'm now desperately trying to get rid of. Just because I want people to see me as Sebastian, not someone else or a version of someone else that's trying to achieve that. I want them to look at me and see that I'm my best self. So I would advise myself to focus on doing that and achieving that instead of taking the easy path and emulating others.
Yeah, no, that's 100%. And just something real quick, when you do your lectures,
Mm-hmm.
do you ever give like tips like that, or is it all just fully like like slides and stuff?
So at lectures, it's an interesting mixed bag. So the majority of magic clubs that would host lecturers are typically the older demographic. They're not exactly looking for how to get into magic. They've been doing it since before you were born and all that.
Yeah.
So they're mainly there for tricks, tips, and ideas for performing. They're not really there for too much for philosophy.
Yeah, yeah.
I would try to sprinkle in different ideas like that in the middle of as the segue between other effects. So I would do something that's really challenging and then not explain it just yet, and then talk something philosophical, my thoughts on performing, and then teach that trick just to kind of hook them into it so they know how it relates to the trick that they just saw.
Yeah, I mean, like, if they've been doing magic for a long time, they already know to just be themselves anyway. So
You would think so.
Yeah, yeah, that's a good point. There are quite a few people. I mean, a lot of people, like, you see like a lot of young magicians. I see it a lot
Mm-hmm.
on like Instagram and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
where a lot of people are like, you see a lot of like magicians and you're like, wow, I'm getting huge like vibes from them. They sound just like them.
Mm-hmm.
And even just like patter and stuff, it sounds just like it, which, if it's good, that's good. But I think as well, as you say, it's very important that people find themselves in magic. And
Yeah, I think that's arguably one of the most important things, because even if it is good patter, if it's not yours, then not
yeah,
really creating anything.
exactly. Yeah, no, you didn't create that. Yeah, you didn't create that. So like, yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I definitely agree with that. And I think,
Mm-hmm.
to be honest, if you can try and find what fits you in magic,
Mm-hmm.
that's definitely. I mean, I know someone that he was like to be honest, I think someone that I really like in magic is someone like David Williamson.
Right. Yes. No, he is
Um,
phenomenal.
yeah, because you see, like, he's like perfected so many things.
Yeah.
Um,
The
and
thing
then
I love
he's
about David, I'm so sorry to cut you off there, but the thing I love about David Williamson is if you took the magic away, he would still be an amazing performer. You would still love that show, even if he wasn't doing these incredible things. Sorry, please continue. I did not mean to cut you off there.
that's so true. Like, literally, he he's like, yeah, if he didn't have magic, he would still be, as you say, super entertaining. And
Yeah.
just like he could have his own show, like it's just someone like, yeah, David Williamson. I think maybe he
Mm-hmm.
didn't exactly think this, but when he was younger, I kind of feel like he took himself, and obviously he's super funny.
Mm-hmm.
So he kind of took himself and was like, what fits me, what magic fits me. And he's 100%, like, is amazing what he does. Like, he's just so entertaining, everything he does. Like, I swear, like, literally, I watched him on YouTube. He was performing at Google, and I was just
Yeah,
watching it.
I definitely think that David has chosen material. I'm sorry, I mean the audio was going a little bit funky there for a moment. Sorry about that.
Oh no, that's all right, carry on.
Yeah, no, he definitely does material that is specifically like he's not the only one that could do it, but you could tell that that's his material. It's not that
Oh
he
yeah.
saw someone else do this and it's like, oh, I think that'd be cool in the show. It's like he made that, and there's a very, very visible difference. You can tell.
Yeah, no, 100%. And that's another thing, to just coming back to being yourself, because a lot of people will look up to David
Oh
Williamson
yeah.
and be like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, I'll try and be like him. Which is not a
Yeah.
bad thing, because he's great, but it is kind of a bad thing because, as you say, you got to be yourself.
Yeah, and no offense to the other magicians on the planet, but you're not going to be David Williamson.
Yeah.
He is specifically him, and that shows. And any attempt at copying that is going to seem like a shallow copy because that's what it is.
Yeah, no, 100%. I can't remember what it said this. It might have been someone that's come on. I'm really sorry if it is. Like, they're probably going to be watching this and be like, that was me. And if it is, just message me. I'll re-edit the video. But like, I swear, like, that someone said to me, they were like, you can't be any other magician because they're already taken. And
Yes.
that's so true. Like, and
Yeah.
as you say, it's obvious. Like, if you start like being another magician, everyone's gonna realize that you're just trying to be like them.
Exactly.
Yeah, like, there's, like, for instance, if you try and be David Williamson is a very you can kind of like, if you try to copy his act, people would
Mhm.
know 100%.
Right.
Like
And also,
there's
just fun fact: the "Be Yourself, Everyone Else is Taken" is a famous quote from Oscar Wilde.
That's it. So no one told me that.
Yeah, exactly. That's just a very famous. Yeah, no, but it's true. There's a reason that it's almost cliche at this point because it is true.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Wow. I mean, like, it's so true. Like, as well, it's not just for magic, it's just being yourself in life, I guess.
can't argue with that.
Yeah, like, I totally agree with that. Like, you just, you want to kind of be unique, you know? Like, if
Mhm.
you're really like everyone else, it's just like, that's not what you want to be. And it's, as well, I feel like a lot of magicians, you'll see them perform and there'll
Mhm.
just be like a ton of other magicians.
Yeah.
Like, it's like you said, you know, if someone sees you perform and they're like, because a lot of people are just, you know, it's like, and I think, I don't know what it is, but like a lot of magicians are kind of, I don't know, kind of how do you say it? They're,
Copycats.
yeah, yeah. No, a lot of magicians are kind of, they just come on and they're trying to be performers. They're trying to perform,
Mm-hmm.
but they're doing it too much like people they've already seen.
Right.
And you know, I think what I think's amazing is there's like this genre of magic. It is so hard to be yourself because you've got to entertain, but a kid show entertainer,
Mm-hmm.
like, you know, most kids just, they see the same magicians pretty much, you know, not the same, but like they all perform the same, you know.
Yeah,
um
Rocky Raccoon, Cheering Flowers. Yeah, all the same, pretty much. The kid stuff. Yeah, that.
yeah,
Yeah.
you know, and that, I have no problem with that, really,
Right.
because if you want to be a kid's magician, you know, it is really hard to change things up. You
Mm-hmm.
can't you can't go out and start making jokes that kids won't understand, you know.
Right, and I would also argue that the children audience circuit is not exactly the highest. Like they don't really. They're there for the fun. They're not there for the tricks themselves. They're there for the experience. They're not like
Exactly.
not.
You're not gonna say. You're not
Yeah,
gonna.
I've seen that version of any card to any number before. Come on, John, you're better than that's not what the kids are gonna say. They're like, oh yeah, it was funny. I had a great time. That's
Yeah,
fine, you know.
exactly. Yeah. No, like, you know, if you start like hitting poker routines out, like, you
Yeah,
know, you're be
yeah,
you're being different, but it's not really a very good different. You know, like, it's
yeah,
not going to be
yeah.
entertaining. And that,
Right.
really, kids shows, they should be entertaining. You
Yeah,
know.
that is
That,
the entire. I mean, for honestly, for any show, but there's also different elements you want to bring into the sophisticated, mysterious magic shows for the adults. You know.
yeah. No, 100%. You know, if you're if you're doing like a proper, like, if you're doing a show with adults in it, like, it's
Mhm.
completely different. You know, you can just, you know, as well, I think you can have a bit more of a laugh and you can interact more.
Mhm.
um but with kids you can still interact, obviously, but it's a bit harder because, like, if you start telling them to, pick a card and make sure not to show anyone, they're gonna start, showing everyone. It's a bit harder. But,
Yeah,
yeah, definitely.
and
Yeah,
I say that
no.
with absolutely zero experience doing kid shows. I did one or two when I was 14 and 15, and have not looked back. So that's my own personal experience in the field.
Yeah, and I think it's really hard, as well. Kids are harsh. Like,
Yes. Oh yeah.
kids
No,
kids aren't
definitely.
easy. If they don't find it funny, they're not gonna laugh. Like, like.
They don't care about your ego. They will gladly tell you you suck.
Yeah, no, some of them will still like you, but they'll still tell you you're terrible. Like, you know, you don't,
Mm-hmm.
you don't even really know where you're at with kids. Like,
Yeah.
I know a ton of kids my age that if a magician come to their show, they would be a right pain.
Oh yeah.
Um,
No, of course. That is the whole teenage demographic is a bunch of hecklers. But when you hit them well, they freak out and they run away. So it's pros and cons, you know.
I saw this magician. He was like, I actually saw him. Like, I went and performed it. I went and saw him do a show, which is very
Mm-hmm.
rare because I don't really watch magicians up live.
Mm-hmm.
Um, And he was like, how old are you? I was like, oh, I'm 12. And he was like, oh, I hate 12-year-olds. They're the worst. And I was
Way
like,
to generalize, buddy.
yeah, I was like, you know, bit harsh, but I get where you're coming from, but bit harsh.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, okay then, thanks. Like, you know, I'm
Well, this
trying
was a nice
my best.
conversation. I had fun. Thank you. Good talking to you.
Yeah, no, and then it was quite funny because he was like, oh, 12-year-olds to the worst. He was like, no, and then afterwards he was like, he come over. He was like, I'm just joking. Do you want to see a few extra tricks? And then I kind of told him that I do a bit of magic, and it was a bit like it was when I first got into it, and it was like oh, it was not a good trick that I showed.
Naturally.
And he was definitely nice because he said it was a good trick. So yeah, it was I think I did a it was like it was triumph but not triumph. I did a double lift and I just did a wrist kill and just left that card face up.
Okay.
And just cut it into the pack, and then I just showed it in the middle. I was like, and now I'm looking back at it, I was like, I wish I would have just done triumph. Like, what was I thinking?
Triumph handling, that would have been the time to whip that one in there.
Yeah, no, like yeah, but I don't know, yeah. But if you don't mind me asking, when did you start Magic?
So I got really seriously into it when I was 12 years old.
Oh yeah.
That was when I kind of first started the journey, and then when I was 13, at my great grandmother's funeral, I met her old neighbor, whose ex-husband was the president of the local Magic club.
Oh wow.
So through that bizarre turn of events, I got introduced to the local IBM ring in Orlando, and I started meeting and networking with other magicians.
Oh,
and
okay.
Through that, I actually got to progress in Magic, and I got exponentially better from that point on. But aside from starting off on YouTube wasn't the best of beginnings.
Yeah, no, and if so you got serious in Magic when you were 12. What kind of what did you get, a Magic set or?
Nope. I just we were playing poker at my uncle's house, and the deck of cards was sitting on the table, and I did a very, very bad self-working card trick that I learned in second grade, and they all freaked out. Like, it was like David Blaine was there. Oh my god, how did you do that? What just happened? And just that amazing connection that I had with them made me want to learn how to do more of that and kind of do that for other people in my life as well. So I just sort of slowly transitioned from that, and by slowly, I mean I literally woke up the next morning with a deck of cards in my hand because I was practicing the riffle shuffle, like just trying to get down to basics, and it just snowballed very quickly from there. And then I met the local Magic club, and here we are over a decade later, and I still love it. It's still one of the most amazing things in my life.
Wow, that's like, I don't know. It's a lot of magicians like a lot of magicians say like, I got it's weird because you started like I did. It was just the fact of I knew a trick just with a key card. I just cut the deck.
Oh, that was actually the trick that it was a key card, yeah.
Yeah, was it? Okay, this is a weird. This is. I said it was like I did, but now it's like really like I did. No, no, it was. Yeah, it was just I just cut the deck. Yeah. I just knew what the bottom card was, and it was just like that, and I don't really want to. I don't think that people know how that's done now. I don't like to give away method on here, but like, if the person that taught me that, okay, I genuinely I'm not worried about giving that secret away because but it was like that, most people, you talk to, they have like, and I'm not talking about on the interview channel, I'm just talking about you talk to people, and they just started like with a Magic set, but like I picked up a deck of cards, and fun fact, I actually couldn't remember what I was doing, and I couldn't remember because I learned it so long ago. So I was like, I didn't have a clue what I was doing. And I just come on, and I went up to my mum, and my mum was like, oh my god, wow, wait, what, how did you do that? And she it was kind of funny because I still I still every time I see this kid come in at school and he was like, oh, I want to show you a magic trick because I'd shown him a bunch of
Hmm.
tricks, and
Hmm.
I was like, go on then, show me, and he did the exact same trick,
Hmm.
and I just taught him a bunch of stuff, and he was like, and it was sick, like,
Hmm.
and I think that, like, wait, who did you just learn that in year two?
You're saying that you learned the key card in second grade?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, no, a friend of mine came into school, learned it from the internet, and he showed that to me. And yeah, blew the door wide open.
Yeah, no, I think it's kind of funny because things like, you know, it's like it's so cool that people like start magic that way. And you're definitely right. It's amazing to give that person the feeling of like, wow, like,
Yeah,
wow. Um,
it's a surreal experience, something you can't get everywhere. And the fact that you can give that to people is just amazing. You feel amazing when you do it. It's ridiculous.
yeah, no, you definitely feel amazing when you're a kid doing it as well. Like the first one
Definitely.
you do. Yeah, 100%. No, now to be honest, a lot of the tricks I learn
Hmm.
are like right now. Like whether it's a download or I just like kind of learn them off YouTube, which I really don't ever do now.
Hmm.
Um, but you kind of I always look for tricks that look like they'd be fun to do.
Hmm.
Because I feel like if you're not having fun performing, how are
Hmm.
you really gonna give your audience that feeling of, like fun, or just, like
That makes
that
perfect
kind of.
sense.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
yeah.
yeah, definitely. But I do have just two more questions for you, Sebastian, if that's all right.
Please bring them on.
Okay, cool. If you don't mind asking this, what is your favorite trick?
That's a great question. From a performance standpoint, I love Triumph.
Yep.
It's just, especially Coaster Kimlot's handling of it with the rotor recall. It's
Yeah.
just absolutely mind blowing. And
Yeah.
I've come up with my own handling of the routine that was actually published in Shaken Not Stirred, which I think just adds a fantastic element of combining that with the memorized deck,
Yeah.
where you just have this super fun, almost hot potato game spectators play, and then you reveal three thought of cards from a shuffled deck, and the cards are still in stack.
Oh,
And just
wow.
I love that routine so much. Yeah, that's got to be the favorite.
No, me and Eric.
Mm-hmm.
um, when I asked him who his favorite magician was, he said to me, he said, "Oh, definitely, my friend Sebastian." Um,
I
he
gotta
was
watch this
like,
interview.
and he was like, he said to me, he said, and the reason why it's so funny you say about the triumph, because the
Mm-hmm.
reason why he was like, oh my god, he said he does moves like, he was like, oh, when I do a triumph, I'll just do like a slop shuffle. Um, but when Sebastian does the triumph, like he does like literally culls like 26 cards. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and you're just sitting there, and he looks like, like they say, like magician's guilt. Like
Mm-hmm.
he just looks like he's running through the deck, like.
Yeah,
And I think that's amazing that you can do that, Sebastian. That's
I
absolutely
definitely
amazing.
recommend taking the time to learn it. It's one of the more difficult moves in Magic, but it completely changed the way that I perform and handle deck cards. So if you're on the fence about it, it does take a while. It is a lot of practice. Your fingers will hurt, but it is more than worth it. I've gotten so much mileage out of that one slide.
Uh, I just I just think, like, I don't know. It's funny because I think what's so amazing for me is that people I like what I like about One Tamariz so much
Mm-hmm.
is that he goes up and he sits down and he literally just has a deck of cards,
Yeah,
and he does a full show with just one deck of cards. And
yeah, and you want more, and it's I did not. I'm so sorry to jump in here, but I love Tamariz. His book Mnemonica is the best starting point for any memorized deck where you're looking to get into it.
it's
And
amazing.
I did not understand the hype. Everyone was telling me that he's the best magician of all time. He's the best living magician alive. You need to go see him. And I watched his clips online and I was like, I don't get it. And then the Genie convention in Orlando hired him one year. He was doing a workshop afterwards. And I went, and it was the most incredible experience I've ever had with watching someone just do a show with a deck of cards.
Yeah.
And he explained some of it, and just his thinking, his philosophy behind everything. Brilliant, brilliant man. My God, words do not describe the thought that man has put into this stuff. It's insane.
You know what? You felt like that too, and I don't mean to be mean, but you probably feel like it as well. I feel like such a fool for at first. I didn't get it. I didn't get why he was so great.
No, no, you're absolutely. I watched on video and I was like, why? I don't get it. Like
I
people are like, he's the best, and I'm like, I don't see it. But you watch him live, and it completely, you get sucked into it. He takes you out of your world. It's incredible.
that man is just like you know what I think is funny as well.
Mhm.
It a lot of people like they'll just watch him and be like, oh, you know, it's a regular card magician, but magicians that watch him like oh my god, this man is like he's so good. Like
Yeah.
I don't. It's like what you said. At first, I just watched a bunch of clips of him, and it was when I first joined a magic club, and you know, I watched a bunch of clips, and I was like, you know, like he's all right. Like you know, he's a
Yeah.
good magician, but like I just don't see it.
Yeah,
He's
no,
like
he is the best. He's earned that title. He is the maestro, and we should all pay homage. He's the guy.
I just like I honestly like he's amazing, and that's probably going to answer my next question. Actually, it might. Who's your favorite creator?
Ooh, unfortunately, it's not Tamari's. I love his thinking and his ideas and his presentations. I think they're wonderful. I think that my favorite magician creator would probably be Aussie Wind.
Oh yeah, wow, yeah, definitely, yeah, that's yeah,
He's
totally.
just so smart, and his routines are so straightforward, so powerful, and it's just very, very well done on so many different levels. And
Yeah,
I read through his book repertoire, and I'm just like, wow, okay, I want to do that, I want to do that, I want like just all of its material that I could see myself using, just because it's so straightforward and easy to put yourself into.
I think he just come up with a new trick. Thought of card to box.
Yes, no, that's actually in his repertoire book.
Yeah, I that looks so good.
It's
Um,
ridiculous. Yeah.
like I always watch tricks, and I got in a habit
Mhm,
of watching magicians online and knowing
mhm.
how the tricks were done.
Oh yeah, naturally.
And then I come back to all these amazing magicians
Hmm.
and just being like, oh no, now my head hurts. Like,
I love that feeling.
it is
One of my
so
favorite
good. Like,
feelings.
when I get fooled, I love it.
Yeah,
Absolutely love it.
same. No, it's one of the best things. Like at this point, I've been doing magic long enough where I've got to go to a convention and hang out with magicians to get that feeling, because I watch videos online, and if I don't know how it works, then I just assume that there was something that I didn't see because camera, and all that. But in
Yeah,
person, watching it live, having that experience is so amazing. I love it. It's one of my favorite things.
just amazing. Yeah, no, 100% Sebastian. Yeah, honestly, like, thank you so much for coming on. It's been absolutely awesome to have you on.
My absolute pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much for coming on. And that was another magic interview. Thank you, Sebastian.